Damian, Son of Batman, #1, written in art by Andy Kubert. So this is in the, as it's called, Batman of Bethlehem timeline, where Batman dies at some point and Damian takes over as Batman. This is showing, I guess, the lead up to that, because I gotta be honest, all that's pre-New 52. I'm not that familiar with it. Anyway, we open up with a slightly older Damian. He seems to be maybe like somewhere between 16 to 20. And it just says some years from now, Robin and Batman are investigating a gruesome murder scene down at the docks. There is just a bunch of dead people there. And they have no idea who did it. It's complete mystery. So they're looking around all these dead bodies, trying to find any hints. Damian's kind of just playing it like as a joke almost. He's saying how bad the bodies smell, but he's not actually carrying the fact that these were people who were murdered. And he's just like, oh yeah, it seems to be more than one person, Batman. Either that or they were extremely efficient. But ooh, geez, that smell. So they're both looking through all the rubble and whatnot. At one point, they look at one of the bodies, and Damian says, oh my god, it's Tim. Oh no, wait, it's just someone as ugly as Tim. Ha ha ha. And Batman's like, dude, seriously, what are you doing here? So at that point, Batman lifts up one of the bodies, and he finds a Jokerized fish. And he's like, okay, this seems a little on the nose for the Joker, but maybe it's something else. And as he lifts up the fish, it sets off a trap, which explodes the fish in a giant explosion, also taking out Damian. Damian manages to hear it just beforehand, but he's still knocked out. And as he comes to, he looks over and he sees Batman's cape like buried in rubble. And he's like, oh, geez, why didn't Batman react in time? His cowl should have picked up the same thing I heard. And so he digs out Batman, and it seems that because of the explosion, Batman is dead. So then we have a whole funeral scene. Bruce is buried. Damian kind of like blames himself because, again, he heard the trap being set, but he didn't warn Batman in time. So he takes some time to grieve, and he believes it should have been him. So then weeks later, he goes to an island called Morgeno, where apparently the League of Assassins is, along with his mother and grandfather. And he just makes his way in, and all the guards are like, oh, Master Damian, didn't expect you. And he's like, yeah, I didn't announce myself. Go get my mom and my granddad for me. So he walks down this aisle full of, like, aborted clones, more or less. They all look like they're still in development. And Roz and Talia show up, and they're just like, hey, how you doing? Good to show up at least once a decade, you little bastard. And he's just like, yeah, hi, how's it going? Look, here's the thing. I need your help. And then Talia, before he can even explain what he needs help for, he's just like, yeah, no, we get it. You feel guilty because your dad died. Let me explain to you exactly how we came to grow you. And she just goes through his entire backstory of they slept together one night, and then they made him a test tube baby, and then he grew up, and then they did everything you saw in the Grant Morrison run. And then she says, we're not going to help you with nothing. We know that you want to avenge Batman's death, but that's not for us. Batman's dead. You were raised to be the heir to the League of Assassins, but you turned that down. So here's the thing. We are reneging your League of Assassins membership. You are no longer part of that. You must solely devote yourself towards becoming the heir of Batman. So get out of here. And he's just like, no, I'm not going to be Batman. You're crazy. I'm going to just keep doing my Robin thing. So he goes back to the Batcave, and he just basically starts tracking online. He's looking for any sort of chatter in the supervillain clubs about who's taking credit for the death of Batman. And he sees a few people. He comes across Mr. Freeze claiming it. And so he seemingly straight up murders Mr. Freeze. We see Killer Croc's claiming it. Straight up murders Killer Croc. We see Jackanapes is claiming it, which I know that was a thing in the future timeline, but I didn't know that was like an already established thing. But either way, he just kind of beats up Jackanapes because he still needs to be alive for later on. And we see Robin's just covered in blood, and he's like, oh, I'm anyone who's taking credit of it, I'm sure it wasn't them. No one be that stupid, but I'm still going to take my anger out on them. So then Damian goes to a church, and he goes to confession, and the other person on the other side of the confession is like, all right, look, I know your family. I may not know you like specifically, but like, I know you guys are the Bat people, and Batman would not want you killing. Stop killing. And he's just like, well, Batman only did half measures. Arkham was a revolving door. All the same reasons that everyone online gives for why Batman should kill. And he's just like, well, no, that's wrong. There's a reason he didn't do it that way. And he's like, well, now he's dead, so we're going to do things my way instead. So Damian storms out, and we see that whoever the person in the confessional was, like, knows Damian definitively. I can't tell who it is, though. So at that point, we see, criminals coming up dead in the Gotham Gazette, and Alfred goes to Damian and is like, hey, you know anything about criminals coming up dead? And he's just like, nah, good on them, though. It's good they're gone. And he's like, yeah, you do understand you're going against everything your father stood for. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, so at that point, he storms out. He says, Batman's gone. I'm to blame. So screw it, Pennyworth. I'm going to do what's needed to get done. And we see him. He's putting on his gear. He's got a Bat motorcycle. And he's just like, all right, I know this was all Joker. I'm going to go out. I'm going to find him. And I'm going to kill him definitively. And as he's about to go out, Bruce Wayne shows up, along with a cat by his side, and he says, young man, what in the hell do you think you're doing? And Damian's just like, what? And that's the issue. I mean, it's fine. It's a good enough issue. It's just, it's weird. Being an alternate timeline, especially with something that right now in continuity, Damian is dead himself. It's just kind of weird to have this. I don't know. I'm not as familiar with this timeline as I probably should be. I did read Batman 666, and obviously there was that flash forward issue of Batman Incorporated. So I don't think there's much more I really need to be aware of when it comes to this continuity, but I don't know. It's an interesting concept at the very least. It seems weird that we've already got Batman, or at least Bruce, back alive here. Maybe it's a trick. I don't know. It's a strange little cliffhanger. Overall, I'd say this issue's probably just I'll give it a flat 7. It's got a lot it needs to get done, so I'm not that upset with how fast-paced it is, but it does feel like it doesn't quite focus on the right parts. It spends a bit too much time of Damian just being like, I'm the one that killed Batman because I should have saved him. Like, okay, you can spend a few pages on that, but we don't need the whole issue being that. So yeah, 7 for this. We'll see what future issues does. It's only a 4-issue miniseries, so it'll be done before you know it.